Some stories don't just scare you with a sudden jump or a fleeting image. They haunt you, lingering in the back of your mind long after you've heard them. They burrow under your skin and make a home there. They linger because they feel real, grounded in the mundane details of everyday life. It's not some fantastical creature or otherworldly demon, like they could happen to anyone, in any ordinary house, on any seemingly normal night. That's what makes them so unsettling. It's not monsters in the closet, the classic childhood fear, but the chill of something off in your own home. A subtle wrongness that you can't quite place. The feeling of being watched when you're sure you're alone. A strange reflection, something just a little bit different than it should be, a fleeting glimpse of something else in your peripheral vision. A weird phone call, a distorted voice on the other end of the line, a message that makes no sense but fills you with dread, a noise from the basement, a creak, a thump, a whisper that couldn't possibly be real, but you heard it nonetheless. These are the moments that shatter our sense of safety, the cracks in our reality that let the darkness seep in. The realization that the world isn't always what it seems. Tonight, we're sharing 8 true horror stories sourced directly from the depths of Reddit. Tales of the uncanny, the unexplained, and the utterly terrifying. If even one is real, you'll be double-checking your locks and maybe even sleeping with the lights on. So turn down the lights if you dare, but stay alert. Keep your eyes peeled and your ears open. The strange, dark, and mysterious is calling, beckoning you into the shadows. Are you brave enough to answer? Let's begin, if you're ready to face your fears. Tonight we delve into the unsettling realm of the unseen, where fear takes on a life of its own. Our first story comes from a teenager, a young man whose ordinary evening took a terrifying turn, leaving him forever haunted by a presence he couldn't explain. It's a tale of isolation, of the vulnerability we feel when alone in the dark, and the chilling realization that sometimes we are not as alone as we think. He found himself alone in his family's old farmhouse. The farmhouse stood sentinel against the encroaching darkness, miles from any other sign of civilization. The wind whispered through the eaves, carrying with it the secrets of generations past. Little did he know, this night would etch itself into his memory, a chilling testament to the unseen horrors that can lurk in the most familiar of places. The house was full of familiar creaks, the settling of old wood, the groan of the wind against the window panes. These were the sounds of home, comforting in their predictability, or so he thought. Each creak, each groan was a familiar lullaby, a constant reminder of the history and memories held within those walls. But tonight, something was different. The usual sounds were soon joined by something else, something far more sinister, until he heard a soft, unfamiliar chuckle. It was a sound that didn't belong, a sound that sent a shiver down his spine. It was a sound that hinted at something malevolent lurking just beyond the edge of perception. He muted the TV. The sudden silence was deafening, amplifying the pounding of his heart. Silence. He strained his ears, trying to discern if he had imagined it, if it was just a trick of the old house playing on his nerves. But then, a low, guttural laugh right behind him shattered the silence. It was a sound that seemed to claw its way out of the darkness, a sound that promised pain and despair. It was close, too close. He turned, heart pounding against his ribs like a trapped bird, his breath catching in his throat. He knew with a certainty that chilled him to the bone that he was not alone. And there in the periphery of his vision, he saw it, a figure in the corner, darker than the shadows, tall, thin, featureless. It was a void in the dim light, a silhouette of pure dread. It stood motionless, yet radiated an aura of palpable menace. Frozen in terror, his muscles locked, he watched as the shadow tilted its head, as if studying him, as if savoring his fear. The silence stretched, thick and suffocating, broken only by the frantic rhythm of his own heartbeat. And then it laughed again, louder this time, a cruel mocking sound that echoed through the house. A sound that seemed to tear at his sanity. It was a laugh born of darkness, a laugh that reveled in his helplessness. That broke his paralysis. The sound, so filled with malice, shocked him back into action. He knew he had to escape, to get away from that thing in the corner. He bolted out the door, running barefoot across the cold, dew-covered grass to the neighbor's house, not daring to look back, his lungs burning, his mind screaming. He didn't stop running until he reached the safety of their porch light. His parents, understandably concerned, searched the house from top to bottom, but found nothing wrong, no sign of forced entry, no indication of any presence other than their own. They dismissed it as a nightmare, a product of an overactive imagination, but he knew what he had seen, what he had heard. He never forgot that shape, that chilling silhouette, or its laugh, that cruel, mocking sound that still echoed in his nightmares. To this day, Decades later, he can't sit in a dim room without nervously checking the corners, his eyes scanning the shadows for any sign of that familiar, terrifying shape. The memory remains, a constant reminder of the night the darkness laughed at him. Some shadows are more than just tricks of the light, more than just the absence of illumination. Some shadows hold secrets, harbor unseen entities, and whisper forgotten horrors. Sometimes in the dead of night, when the world is still and silent, they laugh back, a chilling reminder that we are not always the only ones watching from the darkness. The life of a long-haul trucker is one of solitude, a dance with the open road under the vast, indifferent sky. Days bleed into nights marked only by the changing landscapes and the hum of the engine. These men and women, masters of their metal steeds, often find themselves on stretches of highway where silence reigns supreme, and the only company is the occasional passing headlight or the whisper of the wind. One such trucker, a man weathered by years on the road, found himself on a desolate stretch of Nevada highway. It was 2 a.m., the kind of hour when shadows play tricks on the mind, and the world seems to hold its breath. That's when he saw her. A small girl in a white dress, standing alone on the roadside, an unsettling sight, a stark contrast to the emptiness surrounding her. A wave of concern washed over him. No child should be out here alone, especially at this hour. He wrestled with his conscience. The trucker knew he couldn't just leave her there. He cautiously pulled his rig over to the shoulder, the air brakes hissing in the still night. He glanced in his rearview mirror, half expecting to see her running towards the truck, or perhaps another vehicle pulling up. But the road behind him was empty, swallowed by the darkness. The girl was gone from the roadside. A chill ran down his spine. Where could she have gone so quickly? He turned his head, intending to scan the area with his flashlight, but then he saw her. Instead of being on the road, she was right outside his passenger window. Her face was pressed against the glass, pale and gaunt in the dim light. Her eyes were black as night, devoid of any warmth or life. Her expression was blank, unreadable, sending a jolt of pure terror through the trucker's veins. Paralyzed with fear, his mind struggling to comprehend what he was seeing, he instinctively slammed the truck into gear and floored the accelerator. The powerful engine roared to life and the truck lurched forward, leaving the spectral figure behind. He sped off into the night, his heart pounding in his chest, never looking back. He never saw her again, not in the rearview mirror, not on any roadside. But the image of her face pressed against the glass, those empty eyes staring into his soul, haunt him to this day. Now he refuses to drive that stretch of highway no matter how much longer the detour adds to his journey. Some roads, he believes, are best left untraveled, some mysteries best left unsolved. The memory of the girl in the rearview mirror serves as a constant reminder of the unseen world that lurks just beyond the edge of our perception. Clara had just moved into her dream home, but the basement always felt wrong. One afternoon, alone, she heard a scraping sound from the basement's darkest corner, followed by a wet, sick cough. Panic set in. She locked the door, called her husband, then the police. They found nothing. No intruder, no sign of anyone. Weeks later, Clara learned the previous owner, a heavy smoker, died of lung disease. In the basement. Some noises aren't just the house settling. College roommates Josh and Kevin dared each other to call a cursed number they found online. Static, whispers, and metallic clicks answered. No voice, just chaos. Shaken, they hung up. But that night, Josh got a text from the same number. Soon. The next week was pure dread. Every phone buzz a jolt of terror. Nothing happened, but the fear stuck. Some numbers are better left uncalled. Growing up near a reservation, he'd heard stories of skinwalker shapeshifters that haunt the desert. Driving home late, he saw a coyote standing upright in the road, its eyes disturbingly intelligent. It screamed, a sound between a human and a coyote, and charged his truck. He sped away, never looking back. His father's only advice: don't talk about it, don't say its name. Some legends are warnings. A couple renovating their fixer-upper found desperate messages scratched inside the bedroom walls. He won't let me out, don't listen to the voices. That night, they heard whispering from the gutted room, sometimes one voice, sometimes many. The whispers continued night after night. Unable to sleep, they sold the house at a loss. Some things are better left behind the walls. Alex was relaxing at home when he noticed his reflection in the balcony door grinning back at him, a grin he wasn't making. The reflection waved, then laughed silently, its eyes cold and dark. Alex ran, spending the night at a friend's. The next day, the balcony was empty, the door locked from inside. He moved out, never trusting his own reflection again. Sometimes what's on the other side of the glass isn't you. She woke to 3 sharp knocks on her bedroom window at 3:33 a.m. Too scared to move, she lay still as the knocking came again, louder. When dawn came, she found a handprint in the condensation. 4 long, thin fingers, not 5. She moved out soon after, never learning who or what knocked at her window. 8 stories, 8 cracks in the ordinary world. If even one is true, our sense of safety is an illusion. When the familiar becomes strange, fear lingers long after the story ends. Thank you for joining me in the strange, dark, and mysterious. If you have a story that chills you, share it in the comments, subscribe, and remember, sometimes the scariest things are closest to home. We're listening.